Hey, everybody. Welcome to a special Sunday edition of What's Up Wrestling. We're here to discuss what just happened on AEW All In, plus more tragic wrestling news, obviously, that happened this week in wrestling, which we'll get into with the passing of Bray Wyatt and Terry Funk Jr. But first of all, Ruiz is here. We just
Yes.
watched AEW All In, the biggest premium live event in the company's history. Over 81,000 people, they say, at Wembley Stadium in London, and a lot happened in it. And
Yeah.
and sometimes our heads were spinning. But I want to get your take on the high points of the show, the low points of the show, and the backstage drama, because there wouldn't be an AEW event
No, not even without CM Punk throwing his name
without
in it.
CM Punk being involved in the thing. So I actually want to start with 0 Hour because it was pretty brilliant of them when you think about it. They're getting people to buy the pay-per-view. And what better way than to have your stars, Adam Cole and MGF, at the beginning?
Yeah, no, it was smart.
It was really smart. So can you talk to me about the match? Because I actually missed the match. Can you tell me about, was it good?
Yeah,
Ozzy
it was
was
very
fun. Yeah.
at that point. So before that was Hook
Okay. I was gonna get to
and
that. Yeah.
I was gonna say before that and at that point there wasn't many people sitting down yet because there was still like it wasn't as packed. But I would say like around like it started at 1 over here. So like at like 12:40, 12:35, that's when Cole and MJF came out and it was filled at that point. So they basically got two main events because everybody was involved, everybody was there. It was packed and the crowd was crazy since the beginning. And
Crazy. Yeah.
Aussie Open, who I'm not like too like I haven't really seen them wrestle before. They're not bad, like they're pretty good. Like for somebody like me who doesn't watch as much independent wrestling, like besides AEW, it was nice to see them. They're pretty athletic and they're pretty good in the ring. Um, the match was pretty smooth. It was pretty same thing. It was like very tag team heavy, playing with the crowd like MJF and Cole do, and then they won on the double clothesline, which was cool. And I mean, I'm sure we all thought they were gonna win. They weren't gonna have them on
I
there and not
figured they
win.
were gonna win and then it would all fall apart later. But so that's why I thought they would win.
Once they won, which the match was pretty good, it just created a lot of there's once I saw them win, it was like there's no way they're gonna turn on each other because then they still have the belts. So like they can't really they can't be hitting each other and have the belts because then they're not gonna be on Ring of Honor. So then where are they gonna defend them? You know what I mean? So
Well,
I feel like
I didn't think they even keep them. I felt there'd be some reason they lose those belts somehow. That was taken away from them
yeah.
because they weren't going to go to Ring of Honor. I kept thinking they weren't even going to keep the belts.
I think what I thought from it was that this was their best way, like we saw at the end. This was their best way to keep them together after it was over because now they're the tag champions. So now they have to be together anyway. So it's I think it creates the story to go a little bit longer. Which I saw some people on Twitter weren't too happy with them winning. They said it was lazy booking, which that was a lot. I saw a lot of that.
You're talking about winning the tag champ.
Yeah. They said that it was kind of like a throwaway. It was like, here, take them.
So both of us, while the matches are going on, we're always on social media on Twitter and we're sharing messages because we're like, see this. All right. This is the thing. So clearly Jack Perry's got an issue, and now CM Punk has an issue with Perry, which stemmed back before when there was the whole thing on Collision that Perry wanted to use real glass in this segment.
He wanted to take the whole thing was that Perry wanted to take some time off and he wanted to get written off the show. And the way to get written off the show, he was like, just throw me through glass. And Punk said it wasn't smart and it was too dangerous. And
and Perry was mad.
Perry was mad because they listened to him and they said no, because supposedly Perry had already gotten the clearance. And then once Punk said something, they said, never mind, you can't do it anymore. So then, Perry threw a comment out there today on live television and said,
so fast forward, that was the other week. So fast forward today, it was 2 weeks ago, and we had discussed that and we knew about that. Fast forward today, there's a glass incident, and I believe Hook throws him into the glass.
Oh yeah, Perry was going to throw Hook through the car windshield.
Right.
Knocks on the windshield and says, "Hey, look, this is real glass. Cry me a river."
And he said that to the camera?
Right to the camera, screams, "Hey, look, this is," knocks on the glass, says, "Hey, look, this is real glass, cry me a river." Turns around, goes to throw him through it, and then reverses it, and he gets put through it.
Right.
But he made that comment, which didn't go over well backstage
Right.
with Punk,
Right.
and
Right.
then we had an incident.
So now we had an incident number 725. So there's an incident. The report is that they got into it.
Yeah. The report is that Perry instigated it. Well, Punk wasn't happy. Perry went up to him, and then Punk choked him, supposedly. So I don't know.
But then I said Miro was on social media refuting that report, saying that's not what happened. However, in the AEW post-media scrum, at the beginning, Tony Khan said to the press, before anybody came out, before anything started, that something did happen. I can't get into it. We are doing an investigation, and that's all I'll say on it. And clearly, I think we all know that they couldn't probably ever have Punk do a media scrum ever again.
No, he'll never be on a scrum ever again, especially
now. So what's your thought on this? Is because people are saying Perry is being a jerk. Is it Perry or is it all Punk?
I think definitely Perry is not instigating, but he probably is tired of feeling like Punk runs Collision, which he basically does, which is what we've seen, that Khan kind of does whatever he says and listens to whatever he says, and he's too much of a fan. And I mean, we don't know the whole backstory. I don't know if there's more to it than what it was, but it seems like Perry is just done. He was just done with it, and was taking a couple shots, which probably weren't needed. He probably just should have went backstage and went home, but or stayed back there. But he probably is getting to a point where he's not gonna just let someone tell him what to do, and I guess I don't think I think both of them are in the wrong, because Punk easily could have just walked away, but he can't, so he had to say something back to him.
He can't.
And then he opens the show. So
right, and so Hook won, so it means he now retained the FTW championship.
Yes, it was a really short reign for Perry, which I was surprised about. I was
really surprised. Yeah,
hold it.
So I don't know. So then they opened the show with Punk and Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
And Punk looks like he can't move very well. And it's like, I'm to the point of, maybe this isn't what he should be like. I don't know.
I personally don't know. I don't know what people see. I saw some people praising it and some people saying it was bad. I don't know how you could praise anything. The match was fine. The match itself was okay, whatever. But he just is slow. The match was so slow. Like, when you compare that match to every other match on the show, even the women's match, he's so slow in the ring, and everything it looks like it's like, all right, ready, 3, 2, 1, and then they do the move. Like, that's what every move looks like. Yeah. So, and fast forwarding to the finish, I personally feel like they had him win with that because he can't pick him up. They saw how bad the GTS was the other day, and they had him win with the Pepsi plunge, which was their kind of throwaway. So
but I actually saw on Collision last night, didn't Punk lift it? He got somebody else up.
Yeah.
He actually threw them down. But
when he did it to Joe, when he was the Golden Vampire, whatever he was, it was terrible.
That was terrible. Yeah. So
now he's the real world champion again, which retains it, which I don't really know where they're going with that either. So I don't know.
And then he gets busted open at the beginning. What happened there?
The first 5 minutes, all I saw.
You're even yawning because you're so bored.
The first 5 minutes, I'm not even kidding. All I remember is looking at my phone for like 2 minutes and looking up, and there was blood everywhere. So, and then I read online on Twitter that he got busted open legit. So I was like, I don't know.
Oh, legitimately busted open, not.
Well, like I guess it was part of the match, but like it wasn't like I don't think
he was. Here's what it says.
Yeah.
Punk overcame included being slammed headfirst in the commentary table in a spot that left him busted open.
Yeah, and that was really early in the match, like super early.
Which is weird.
Yeah, because Punk, I know Punk likes to bleed, but not like that early on the. It was just, yeah. I guess that was their plan.
And how was Joe in it?
Joe was fine. That's the thing. It's just when you have a guy like Joe who's not nothing has to do with his weight. I'm saying in general, he's a slow worker. With Punk, it was a slow match, and I was bored. I didn't think I didn't think that it was a good opener. I didn't think it was good smart to open with Punk.
And I guess why they did that obviously was to hook in the audience. You got CM Punk at the beginning.
They sang his song. Yeah,
they sang a song, and so guys. Now from here on, I saw everything. So it was just that point I missed. All right. I guess we don't have much to say about Punk other than once again there was backstage trauma.
Slow. Yeah, he's slow and then caused trouble backstage, and supposedly he was allowed to stay and Perry was forced to leave. So
Perry was forced to leave.
Yeah.
What does that say?
It seems like they were saying, imagine getting beat up and then you have to leave. Like that's literally what happened. They made him leave. So I don't know.
I wonder how this will play out. I'm sure there's a suspension coming, or now they're doing another investigation, so there'll be more
investigation that will never investigation that they'll never talk about ever again, and it'll
right,
be on the show.
Or somebody will be suspended again.
Yeah, so we'll see.
So then we get Kenny Omega and Hangman Page, Kota Ibushi.
We were saying was hilarious. Somebody on Twitter was like, Tony Khan has some balls going from Jack Perry to Punk opening to then the Young Bucks second match. Like that's like crazy to go 1, 2, 3 basically. So
I mean, yeah, so they got the Golden Elite against Switchblade Jerry, Juice Robinson, and Takeshita. And I will say this, like, there were some great moves in the match.
Like I said, I was like we all like Omega, obviously. We know how good he is, and we know how good
Page was good too.
And Page. But Takeshita's really good. Like I didn't realize how good he was till like I saw this match like fully, like when I watched the whole thing. Like and it's funny that they said that he was like a decathlon or whatever. You can tell he's so athletic and he's ripped too. He's enormous. So I kind of like what they're doing with the whole passing of the torch, basically with Omega and him, because he can be the next really big guy. I mean, he was on that list of the 25 and under list. So I think he could be really good for a long time.
I think he's great. I loved him. I actually thought when he came in as a face, he was great, and now he's great. And
smart pairing, Dallas. I like it. It's smart.
Yeah, it's really smart. And the match there was a lot of spots in it. Like I thought that was really good. And you don't think Omega should have been in a solo match?
See, that's I guess the only reason, which obviously I don't know if you saw that they set up, was the match for All Out. I saw that people on Twitter, like since last week when they announced the match, they were saying that they need more matches for All Out, so that's why they kind of postponed his singles match.
Right.
The plan was for Omega and Takeshita, but then they had no plans for Juice Robinson and Jay White, so they kind of just made it a 6-man.
I know. I thought they changed it. I actually thought it was supposed to be Takeshita versus
just Takeshita and Omega. Yeah.
So that's
now they're fighting it All Out, which is smart because
All In. Wait, All Out.
This was All In. Yeah, All Out.
Wow.
Which is still crazy to me that they're fighting on next week, but it's
next week we have another one.
But wait, real quick, is this a pay-per-view as well? Like people have to pay again, or is this just on like a regular show?
No, I thought, isn't it a PLE?
Isn't that crazy? But the thing that's crazy to have people pay $120 in a week span, basically, when you think about it.
I mean, here, all out Chicago.
Yeah, pay-per-view. Yeah. That's crazy.
So we'll be back in 6 days with All Out. And obviously Punk is going to be in Chicago. So isn't this going to set up Punk in the main event with
I heard that they already announced that Ricky Starks is allowed to fight at All Out, so I think they're going to do something with that. Yeah.
With his belt. The belt.
Ricky Starks' belt that he whips everyone with.
Which makes no sense.
But, no, the match was good. I think it was definitely smart I was kind of surprised, but I thought it was smart to have Takeshita win.
I did too.
It was kind of quick, so it was kind of weird ending. Like I wasn't expecting. I was expecting him to kick out, but I like the ending.
I was shocked. I was shocked that they let Omega lose on the pay-per-view, but I guess was setting up.
Yeah, Sunday.
I thought Paige's moves. There was like a sequence there that was really great.
I love Paige. I think he's great.
And I love Paige, and I know you're like. I was like, I don't think you like Paige. Like I like Paige, but I like Paige.
Yeah, he's good.
And by the way, the crowd was into Paige.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the crowd was into the whole thing, don't you think?
And I definitely I liked how this crowd. I don't know if you could tell, like comparing it to when WWE was in like Puerto Rico and like UK, but where they were at, it seemed like the crowd cheered for everybody. But this crowd like had guys that they booed and cheered, which
I liked.
Yeah. Like they just cheer everyone, like most of those crowds do, because they just don't care, because they just like to be there.
No, I thought it was great. I thought the crowd was a really great help to this whole thing.
And going based off of like where they're going with this, I would. Takesh just seems like he has to go over on Sunday against Omega on singles. I mean, I would guess so. I mean, Omega winning does nothing. I don't know what that does at 45 years old or however old he is. Like, I don't know where they go with that. So,
but I thought Omega was your guy, and you wanted him to go to WWE and have a big run there.
But now that he chose to stay, I'm mad at him. So he should just. Yeah, he should have left. Because I don't know what I'm saying is that part of why I think he should have left is that because people on Twitter, that was a big thing on today. They were saying like if Omega retires and never being WWE, never having WrestleMania, his career is so much less important. Like think about it. If they have to Takeshita go over on him, is that what he's gonna do now to AEW? Just put people over when he could still have a crazy main event run on WWE? He could have been the top guy there. And now he's not really he's not the top guy anymore. MJF is the top guy. So, I mean,
the other problem is, where does Paige go? Because he was great. I was a real fan of him.
I think he's so stalled out.
He's like stuck. Why are they not giving? He was the champ. Why are they not giving him any kind of push as a singles? He's like stuck in this thing.
Yeah.
With these guys.
I don't know. Yeah, they hit him. I think him and Omega, after Omega's story with this guy is done, what else do they do? Where do they go?
Like
they got the same guys again. Yeah, that's why it's like the roster is so big, but at the same time feels so small because it feels like they run the same matches over and over again.
Which brings us to FTR versus the Young Guns. Okay, that was an amazing match from the spots that they all did.
Yeah, the match was great.
Match was great. I have to say the match was great.
Yeah, and people on Twitter were saying it's the best tag match ever.
I think it was pretty great.
Yeah.
I mean, and you laughed, so I'm thinking, did you think it was a bad match?
No, I thought the match was great. It's just that we've seen it before, and like I said, I'm not too high on FTR. I don't know. I don't think they're that good. I like the match was great. So like obviously like I kind of sound like a hypocrite, but it's like themselves. I'd rather have the Young Bucks win.
So again, I hate to say this, everybody, but we're going back to problems with the AEW roster. I thought that after Cash Wheeler's arrest and the trouble he got in, they had to take the belts off him for now.
So did I.
I was sure. I was like watching this going, it's just a minute. Here, they're going to pin.
That's why it's just like crazy to me that it's like you can do whatever you want. It's like you can do whatever you want and there's no repercussions.
So you win, he's gonna win, and they're still the champs. And then Young Bucks don't shake their hands.
Yeah, so I guess they're gonna I
guess Young Bucks are gonna be the heels now.
And they're gonna run it back again. I heard it all out. So we'll see. Yeah.
The crowd was so into this match.
And the crowd, I don't know if you saw the video of the crowd chanting "Wheeler's got a gun," which was hilarious to me. They were chanting "Wheeler's got a gun," which is so funny.
Didn't he do like a 450 splash? Something. There's something that didn't go right or went well. I can't remember. Anyways, it was a great match. I thought.
I would have rather had the Young Bucks win if I had to choose.
I wish the way I would have booked it is Young Bucks win.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they kept winning.
I don't think the FTR's reign has been that good. It's been kind of boring. So that's why it's like people weren't happy about it either on Twitter. I saw mostly people wanted Young Bucks to win every time. They haven't had them in a while, so it's.
I was sure being the executive vice presidents and winning it at Wembley, they would win it.
And that's why it was crazy to me that
yeah,
Omega took the pin and they lost.
Omega took the pin. I'm like,
yeah,
are you setting this up for All Out?
Like Omega, Page, and the Young Bucks, both all of them technically lost. Yeah,
I was shocked. It was a good match, though. I was just shocked.
Good.
But I wouldn't. It was a good. But I wouldn't award violence. I would not award Cash Wheeler. Yeah. I would take it off him for now.
Because I don't think your plans get derailed if you had FTR winning and it's like, all right, now I got to switch it to Young Bucks. Like, you can figure it out. Like, you could have switched it.
Then we had this insanity of this stadium stampede. So we had Orange Cassidy, Trent Beretta, Chuck Taylor, Eddie Kingston, and Penta El Zero Miedo versus Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, Santana and Ortiz. And I was like, I can't handle this. I've got a headache. There was so much going on.
We'll start with, did you notice, because I don't know if you know how there's been a lot of beef between the Ortiz and Santana, right?
Right.
And,
so I was like, what?
They didn't even come out together. They didn't look at each other. They didn't do any moves together. They didn't have legit beef still, but they had to fill in that match. So they came back together.
And that's what happened when Tony Khan in the post-media scrum, he said this had to be changed. Is it changed because of Pac? But Pac had a beef with those guys too.
Yeah, but I think Pac was supposed to be the one.
Phoenix?
Or Phoenix, yeah.
Yeah. So that all got scrapped. So throwing those two guys, Ortiz and Santana, made no sense to me. And then they weren't looking at each other once.
No, they don't like each other. It's like legit stuff.
There's something seriously wrong with Jon Moxley.
No, yeah. It's bad.
No.
Like, this man is insane.
Like, seriously. Let me talk about looking down at your phone. Let me show. This is me. So I did what you did. I'm checking the thing and I look up. And the only person bleeding is Mox. No, I saw that. Before that, he's bleeding. I'm like, wait, I just looked down at my phone. How is he bleeding? Did he just like sneeze? Like, how did he start bleeding? So he's bleeding.
That's his forehead.
He's like, oh, I'm going to put sticks in my head. Like, and you don't think there's something wrong with this guy? Like,
no, it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. It's like no matter what, there's blood. Him and Kingston. Sean Kingston is crazy too. He's nuts. Him and Moxley are the two craziest ones in AEW, in all of AEW.
But so I knew the following would be true. Trent Beretta loves to bleed and get cut open, and so does Moxley.
Yeah,
they were like the biggest. I was shocked that Orange Cassidy would agree and let himself get like he was bleeding. I've never seen him do that.
And I was gonna say, it's funny that I thought about that like before. Because there was a couple spots. There was a spot where Cassidy was supposed to get whatever, and he reversed it. Because he's been in a lot of matches with people that are bleeding. He never bleeds. Like he never bleeds.
Never bleeds.
He just doesn't want to agree to it. But I guess today he was like whatever. But he definitely doesn't.
He doesn't bleed, and I was shocked that he was bludgeoned all the time, and he agreed to that. Notice who else never bleeds. Claudio never bleeds.
Yeah.
Must have his contract. Do not hit my face.
Some people just don't like it. Yeah, some people don't like.
I get that. I would get that too. Yeah. But I thought Orange was one of those people.
Yeah.
So that shocked me. Now, did you follow what was going on?
It was when they did the split screen. I was like, listen, I get it, and this is pretty cool because they did this during COVID. But it was like, it was so much going on. That's why it was like, I don't even know why. This match shouldn't even end with a pinfall. These guys just want to beat the crowd with each other. It should just end after like 30 minutes of them beating each other up. Like these guys really care about the win. You know what I mean? So I liked it because like it was cool and it was a lot of stuff going on. So it wasn't like a match to follow the story, but it was so hard to like know who. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of forgot who was on each other's team at some point. I forgot who was who.
Like who's out here? But wait, I've got three things. Moxley stabbed Cassidy with a fork or some. What did he have? Was it a fork?
It wasn't the screwdriver.
I don't know. He was sicko. Then all of a sudden the van shows up. The van shows up and it's Sue.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and can you imagine? Everyone's got barbed wire and forks, and what does she have? A plate of desserts.
Of cookies, yeah.
So Sue drives up.
And everyone started hitting each other with the pans.
Yeah. And then Penta reemerges as Penta Oscura, the dark version. But are you following that's the dark version? I'm like, what? And they're like, it's the dark version. I'm like, how do I know that?
Yeah, like the fact that they say that was like, just because he's red and black doesn't mean I'm gonna.
Is that it? I was like, it's the dark version, and I'm like, what's going on?
And then the ladder broke. You saw the ladder broke.
The ladder broke, and so that's what. So the ladder broke. The spot got ruined, and then didn't he get taken out?
No, they went back up and did it.
But there was a point in there where the medics came and took him out.
Yeah, he went through the ladder.
Right.
They went back up the ladder. He jumped because like the whole last 4 rungs broke. So the only top 2 were there. He jumped to the top. They did the spot and then they took him out.
Right. So he could emerge as Oscura. So I'm like, if you did not have a scorecard, this was an extremely hard match to follow. And this is my point. There's a lot thrown in an AEW storyline in a match.
Yeah, this was like 5 different storylines in one.
5 different stories, and I don't think the camera angles matched up all the time. Right when it was just hard to it needed to be tightened up somehow.
Like we were watching like 2 guys fight in the middle of the ring, and then Kingston's in the 3rd section of the stadium. I was like, when did they just take the elevator and go up there? Like, when they didn't show them going up there, so how did they get up there?
I mean, does Moxley go in and just say, "Please, I want to stab people, make me bleed"? I don't understand.
Like when he had the thing sticking out of his head, I was like, "That's a crazy picture. I've never seen that before. Like that must hurt so bad."
And that was my other.
Or he's numb to it.
But what about the glass thing? Was that just fake? And he's like pounding the glass as orange candies, but then that didn't work, and so all the glass went on the floor, and they're literally slamming each other in the glass. But then you're thinking, oh, it's fake, but then you see blood coming out their back.
Oh, I think it's pretty. It's not like glass, but I think it's definitely still like glass, like stuff that's gonna cut you and make you bleed. And then when he's rubbing barbed wire on this guy's face, that like I can't even watch it. It's literally scratching barbed wire on his face.
Well, so I was going to say there's something about this match that a lot of times I was like this, and I didn't want to see it, which leads me to your point that you made a while ago. This is not enjoyable. Or was this enjoyable?
I don't think it's funny. Like I think it's just weird. Like why are we watching it? It's like we should be
watching.
Like
you're watching it for the shock value and the weirdness to go like, what are they going to pull out and skewer somebody's face with? The biggest shock to me was Orange Cassidy bleeding.
Yeah.
I've just never.
It's just because he didn't like. There's all these guys in the match, and then he doesn't really fit like that style. So it's like I was just surprised he was in the match to begin with. Like it was just funny.
And in the post media scrum, I thought shockingly he was like, "No, I wanted to be in this match." The one thing that he was upset about is that he was the international champion, and here we are at an international stage, and he didn't have a match.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
And they brought out our new friend, Penta Oscura. So Wednesday night, they're going to wrestle.
Yeah.
And the winner meets Moxley at All Out. Which means we're going to bleed.
Yeah.
Which means...
But were you surprised by the winner, or did you think that was going to happen? Or at that point, you didn't care who won, you just wanted the match to be over?
I just was sick to my stomach. And
I didn't care who won at all. Like I was
just like... At this point, honestly, after Sue came out and then Penta, I was like, oh, I got a headache. I can't end this. But Cassidy won, right?
Yeah. But like I'm saying, that team in general, like that team, I thought
I was shocked. No, I did not think they were going to give it to them.
Yeah, and Kingston.
I mean, do we like Kingston? I don't even know what.
I don't. I think he's crazy.
I am not a fan of Kingston's. I'm sorry, Eddie. I'm not a fan. I think he's crazy. And I didn't think he was coming back to AEW.
Yeah. Well, here he is bleeding with barbed wire and with his middle finger up to John Moxley.
Let me just say, I was uncomfortable by 20 minutes into it. I'm like, please end this.
Yeah, and it went long. It dragged.
It was like, and I don't know what's going on. All right. The women's AEW World Championship actually wasn't that bad.
I'm going to say, I'll tell you right now, I loved the match. I thought it was really good. It was quick. It was only 9 minutes long, which people were not happy about because everyone is pissed because they don't have a women's roster. They don't use the women's at all. They had one match on a 20-match card. They had one women's match. And I'll be honest, I know it seems like a hot take on Twitter. I was so for Saraya winning. I wanted her to win so bad.
I was so for Saraya winning.
Yeah, I also like. I'm not gonna lie,
Saraya, we're with you.
I'm not gonna lie. I was a huge Paige fan. Like even when she wasn't, like even her whole career in WWE, like I was sad when she had to retire all this stuff. She came back like as the GM. I was happy to see her just as a GM, whatever. And when she came out in AEW, I was excited, but it felt like she was getting kind of stale. But I like her. I still think she today was her best match she's had on the roster since she's been there. Best match. She took the most bumps like that she's taken. She did the most moves, and she looked good. And I thought that was the best. You had to change it up, and she needed to win something. She needed to have some type of title. I thought that was smart.
I was really excited about this match because there's nothing greater than having your hometown crowd winning things.
Especially with her mom there and all that. That was super cool.
That was amazing. But I think this was all changed. This was supposed to be Jamie Hayter.
Yeah.
Jamie Hayter's from England. And this was going to be Jamie Hayter retaining the thing from Tony Storm.
Yeah.
Storm. This all got screwed up when Jamie was hurt. So now they've got Saraya. It was part of the Outcast.
I heard online people were saying it was an audible, not like today, but an audible in the plans because they weren't. But I'm telling you right now, once I heard that Tony Khan got Queen's "We Will Rock You" as her entrance song, there's no way she was losing. That just wasn't happening. Like, there's no way they were going to.
Exactly. I thought that was brilliant. I really was so glad that they had the Outcast fall apart.
Yeah, and now she's the face. Technically, she's like the face now. So it's just smart.
Unless they go backwards, they shouldn't. I mean, didn't the whole thing start though? Tony Storm accidentally punched her mother.
Because she was holding her. The mom was holding her up. She ducked and punched her, and then Paige still didn't do anything. And then Tony Storm like got her, and then that's when Ruby Soho came out. Said
like her neck. She was
gonna do the move that she was gonna do the move.
Like this was actually really good storytelling because it brought up her neck. It was bringing the Outcast. I'm like, this is what they need more of. And it was a great moment. And the other thing that was so creepy was Britt Baker pushing on the teeth parts of
with the glove.
No, but she was just going into the teeth, not even in the mouth, because she knows as a dentist
that where the spots are. Yeah. She knows like what spots to touch.
She's like touching it. And the poor Sheeta's like, she did that. That was brilliant. And I actually thought earlier that they'd give this to Britt, but it would be really
been a while.
In a while. And she was the star.
Yeah.
And she's really now this Saraya thing. If they do it right, they could play off this for a while. And I hope that the Outcasts are done.
Yeah, I think I think they're gonna be split up. I think what they're going at is that it's gonna be like Ruby and Paige and Saraya are still together because like they didn't, and then it's gonna be Tony Storm, separated.
Yeah.
So, but I liked it. People were mad. Like a ton of people were mad on Twitter. I really enjoyed that.
I thought it was a great match. I actually was really into it, and I'm like, this is really great. And then all of a sudden, she won.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I was glad that she won.
Okay, but Mercedes Moné was in the audience.
Yeah, they showed her.
And of course, in the post-media scrum, Tony said, with Saraya there next to him,
Yeah.
At Mercedes Moné, they wanted to have her there. She's not cleared to wrestle. So they just had her come there. I'm like, okay. So you just had her come there to show these shots that were sitting there. And Saraya said, if she does come, bring her on, and I'd love to wrestle her.
The thing is that I'll be honest. I'm not saying this because I have any inside information. Just genuine feeling. Not that she won't go there, but I still think that she wants to be on the biggest stage in WWE. I think that's her whole plan, is to come back and come back to WWE, which I'm not saying. I think if she does go to AEW, it's going to be some type of really short-term deal, like a couple matches here and there, because she's still under contract with like whatever. But I think she sees that women's division is very weak, and it would be dumb if she went there. I just think that would be really stupid.
I am the
amount of money. She's a star, and you see that Charlotte does interviews all the time, and she always talks about how she wants to still have a main event with Sasha Banks. Says it all the time. I personally think she's going back at some point.
I have to say, I love Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks to me was it in WWE. Like, I consider her like just watching her wrestling.
I still think I think she's the best, like probably the best ever, but if not like top 3. When it comes to like,
if there was a Sasha Banks match on WWE, I was in a pay-per-view or PLE, I loved it. I loved watching her. If she was to come to AEW, I hope they could build something with her.
That's why I just don't. I think it's cool to show up. It's smart. She's not dumb. She knows her name.
It's a tease
around everywhere, but I don't think she's definitely not signed at all. So
But why would you, if you're the WWE? She walked out on them.
Yeah.
So why would you be like, sure, come back?
I think you have to know. Like, I think Triple H knows, because Triple H wasn't running it yet. So I think he knows that he's got to get her back, and she likes Triple H. So I mean, there was obviously rumors about her going back, like before she ended up going to the Tokyo Dome and all that. So that's why I wouldn't be surprised.
The pop would be get her well and shows up at WrestleMania 40, and she shows up or something big like that.
Charlotte said it the other day. She says, I would love to wrestle her at WrestleMania 40, even though she's not on contract. So it's just crazy that she's even saying that. But I guess Mercedes has all the power. She could choose whatever she wants. So,
well, congratulations, Saraya. I'm glad she won. I thought it was a great moment with the family and the dad with no teeth who was crying, which is great. She talked about her dad, and I guess she has a brother who's an up-and-comer great wrestler.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
There's 2 brothers. So that leads me to, well, there you go. Okay. So my guy, Sting, is in the next match, and I'm mortified that he's gone back to the Joker Sting, because I don't like the Joker Sting.
TNA, right? That's all from TNA.
Yeah, it's from TNA, which I didn't like. So out comes Sting and Darby Allin, and
again, came out to Metallica, which was another song he had to buy, which I think is awesome, because that was his WCW song, which was pretty cool.
Great. Yeah. And the fans seem to be really into Sting. Yes,
I'm not gonna lie, that match was awesome. Sting looked great. He looked.
I was all prepared for you to tell me and trash talk my guy.
I'm not trying to be funny right now when I tell you that.
I thought you were going to tell me he was shit.
No, I thought that he looked and moved better than Punk did today. I'm not kidding. I think he looked better than Punk did. 100%. Not even a doubt. And Samoa Joe. I think he looked better than both of them.
And he went through table, Sting did some spots.
Crazy moves. Yeah, some bad stuff.
He really did. This is why I love this guy. He'll still do it.
Great. He's great. He really does still look good. It's crazy. It really is crazy. And tomorrow he's gonna wake up and be in pain. But it's
what did I do?
64 years old. That's crazy. He has to be one of the oldest guys to wrestle at a stage like this, right? Ever. I can't name. I don't know when Ric Flair stopped. I don't know.
Ric Flair doesn't stop. He was going to 74. He just kept going. Yeah, I think Ric Flair, but yes, and I thought the crowd was so excited to see Sting. Yeah, they turned out, weren't they? Only in was the legend, the icon.
And
So
Darby's awesome. He's another one who's great. He's so good.
I think Darby, the most amazing moment to me, they tie his hand, Christian, and he does that flip
Yeah.
with his hands completely tied up. He's such an amazing athlete.
And that coffin drop must have hurt so bad from when he landed on the first of all, he dented the coffin like an insane amount. I was like, this thing's not gonna close. But it was great. Like I said, I told my uncle this. I'm obviously like a bigger WWE fan, and I don't really think that anybody they let go has been bigger in AEW. Like I don't think they've really like gotten lost with anybody. If I had to choose one that I think he is bigger and I think they messed up was Swerve. I think Swerve is so much better in AEW than he is in WWE. And I didn't expect him to be that big of a star, but he's awesome. He's great. He's so good in the ring.
And they did Swerve's house. Like they're all doing it with
He's a star.
That guy is a star. Yeah. A star.
That's the main guy I said that WWE messed up on releasing him because he could have been really good.
I mean, you see so many errors of the ways of WWE with some of these people. He's great. They really messed that up. WWE. He's great.
Oh, they did. Yeah, that's the main guy. I said that's the number one guy that they let go that I bet they wish they could have had back.
I did think it was funny and like they try to get somebody in the coffin and the bat would stick out.
Yeah.
Or they do different spots like that. Then didn't Luchasaurus come out too? Just mess it up.
Yeah, he was wrestling with the guy.
Right. And so then this sets up Luchasaurus versus Darby Allin for
All Out.
For the TNT for All Out.
For Christian's TNT title. I love that he wears it. It's hilarious to me. It's so funny. He also looked great too. Like I don't know how these guys got like cleared when WWE wouldn't clear them, but him and Soraya both look great. I guess they just don't care if they die in the ring. So
and I'll tell you what, I know. I think we talked about this. So I had my neck fused.
Yeah.
So I have screws and plates in my neck. So every time I hear about Soraya or Edge, like I cringe because I know what that's like. And so when I just feel for them. Like it is really hard. My neck's not the same.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel weird when I can't, it's like, I can't imagine doing what they're doing.
Yeah. And I think Christian's in great shape too. He looks great. Like he looks really good. I do think it's funny that Sting wears a t-shirt now because he can't wear like the singlet because he probably looks weird.
I think that's hilarious. I think the way they comb his hair so he doesn't show the baldness in the back. Yeah. That being said, like he showed up and I was worried he was going to be like a clunker.
And you know what I liked? You know what I really liked? That part was super improvised. That he went to put Swerve through the tables. It didn't break. And he just walked right back. He walked right back up the stairs and did the spot again. And I thought that's the best. That was so smart. That was the best way. It looks better.
Right. Because that looked like, oh shit, I'm going to do this again.
Like, no, like you have to go through the tables. Like it didn't look like, oh my God, they got botched. It just looked like the table didn't break. I'm doing it again. Like that's what I love that. I thought that was so, and that shows.
One of the comments was, if first you don't succeed, throw yourself on top of Strickland and break the table anyways.
Yeah, no, it was so smart. It really was.
It was so smart. And I only think a pro like him would have been able to do that.
I said it shows how like, experienced he is when it comes to what to do. Because obviously the crowd's like, oh my God, it didn't break. So he's like, yeah, let me just go back up top and do it again. So it was good. It was smart.
I think Tony Khan said there was an audible in this match. Something happened in this match. And I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. They were always gonna win, I think, because there's a coffin match, like it had to be. So I mean,
it was Seek and Destroy by Metallica. I mean, he had to pay bucks for that.
No, yeah, and I heard that Metallica, some people are more willing to do stuff like when it comes to using their song, and I've heard that Metallica is super strict, like they hate it, like it takes a lot of money to get it. So I don't know how much money they paid for that. They probably. And I can't imagine how much money they paid Queen too for Soraya's too. So
Soraya, I know there's money, and then also the Nick Wayne thing. So he's this 18-year-old kid. Isn't it look weird that they have this 18-year-old kid? I mean, do you like that part of the story?
Yeah, it's a little weird. Yeah.
Yeah. a little weird.
Yeah, it doesn't really fit in, but it's I guess they need to create something else.
Well, now we come to Will Ospreay versus Chris Jericho. First of all, Chris Jericho should not sing at a live event.
He can't sing. It's so
I
bad.
was like we finally get him singing to Judas in my mind. And it's like,
It was bad.
It was bad.
It was bad.
And then Sammy Guevara, like behind him, like it's just like I was cringing at that.
Yeah. The best comment I saw was like, because like everyone knows Chris Jericho sings the song, and like I was being like made a joke, and he goes, Chris Jericho can't sing. Why can't they just get the guy who sings Judas to come out and sing it? Because they said I lost it. I was dying laughing when I saw that.
Yeah, that guy. I mean, he was like,
and someone was like, they were like maybe because the guy that sings Judas had to wrestle in the match.
It was so bad. It was,
and he tried to do like the crowd work that like Freddie Mercury did.
It's like,
and it sounded terrible.
It was terrible and cringy. And I just was looking at this going, one of the best wrestlers in the whole company, Sammy Guevara, had nothing to do in this thing but follow Chris Jericho. Like, it was so stupid. And the cringy song, it was just awful. And then one of the best openings is Will Ospreay comes out and it's like, we can all go home because I just watched the best ring, best entrance, best out ring garb.
His attire looked awesome. I loved it. Because I'm also like, people make fun of me. Like, I'm a huge sucker for red, white, and blue like gear. Like, I think that I just love the colors, and it looked awesome. Like everything, because he's a U.S. champion too. So it matched his title and everything. It was great, and he's so good. He's just so good in the ring. It really is awesome. I'm telling you right now. I think he's the best in the world.
Hands down. I'm sorry to tell you, it's not the person in WWE. This is the best wrestler in the world.
Wrestler. We're not talking about storyteller.
I'm talking about wrestler.
In-ring wrestler. I think he's the best.
Did you see how solid all those moves?
But it's like effortless. He just flies around the ring, and he's a big guy. It's not like he's a high flyer either. Yeah, he's really good.
I was mesmerized by his work. The every one of those moves were major moves. Even if he got pummeled and he'd flip, like even him getting hit down, he sold it. When he was going up and flipping, it was the moves were executed so well. Why is this man not the biggest name in wrestling? Tell me. Yeah. To me, he was the best part of the show. Sorry.
Yeah, he was the best performance. I think the best attire. His song is awesome too. He has what it takes to be big in big companies. I just don't know if he wants to. I heard that he's very against leaving like the UK because he just lives in the UK. So I don't know. I mean, lives in what's it called? Japan. So because he's the IGPW whatever. So I don't know I don't know if he's willing to live, in the US mainly, because if he's in AEW or WWE, he has to live in the US. So I don't know what he wants to do there, but I think he'd be dumb to not take advantage and get paid a lot of money from one of these companies. I know that WWE's interested, so I don't know if they're going to offer the money or not. We'll see. His contract's up in 6 months, so we'll see what happens.
Oh, then you should go to AEW, I guess.
Yeah, I think he fits in there more. I mean, WWE, I feel like I'm scared that they'd like kind of screw him over and like have him be a U.S. champion for his whole career. So
be an Austin Theory. Be an Austin Theory. The crowd was amazing. They were all behind him.
Yeah, he's great.
So he was really the face in this, even though he's been a bad guy.
And it's the biggest win of his career against Chris Jericho. So,
and I think he was generally moved at the end. I think he was so moved by the crowd and that moment of, can you imagine like working your whole life as a wrestler and being in front of?
And he's young, and he's super young too. He's like 26, I think, 27. So he's not old at all. He's not in his 30s.
I could not tell you how impressed I was with him, which we said the last time we saw him on a pay-per-view.
He just gets better. Yeah, it was cool to see him. It was cool to see him like on a big stage like this, like a WrestleMania's type stage. So it was cool.
I don't know why they couldn't make him in the WWE. You're right. He'd probably end up in a mid-card level thing.
Yeah, I think they just have him like sit somewhere that like he wrestle like everyone's him and Rollins beef on Twitter all the time. I would love to see that match. That match would be so good. That
So
match would
then
be awesome.
that would be amazing. The end of the match, Jericho pushes Sammy away.
Yeah, it's like, can we just do it already? Like, why is it still getting?
Why are we holding on to that?
I don't get it.
Why is Guevara now not getting a push either?
Why is he just listening? Like, why is he just letting him do whatever he wants? I don't get it. That's what I don't know. It's stupid to me.
What did you think about the fact that Jericho allowed, as one of the main people in the company, he allowed Ospreay to get over on him? He was fine with it, obviously.
I personally think Chris Jericho still looks pretty good in the ring. Like, I think he can move a little bit. I think he looks better than a guy like Punk, who is younger. And
wait, you were the biggest CM Punk fan. I don't know what's happened to you.
It's because he's pissing me off. He's getting me annoyed.
You know remember when
on the show? You know who wasn't on the show today? Jeff Hardy, and that's why I'm just in a bad mood. No, I'm kidding. But I heard that they actually had a match set up. It was going to be the Hardys and oh my god, who was it? And one more against Jeff Jarrett and those two other guys that he's with. But Jeff Hardy couldn't get into the UK because of his arrest, so they had to cancel it.
Cash Wheeler could.
Yeah.
Some people are with us. Kalina's back, and she said Chris Jericho's entrance was awesome. She said the All In was fantastic. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I do not agree. I like Will Ospreay's entrance.
Yeah.
But we're so glad you're here. Thank you. Hi, Zephyr. How are you? Okay. So Sammy Guevara has nothing to do. All right. And then we come to the Trios Championship, which was the Acclaimed, and now Badass Billy Gunn versus House of Black.
I was not a fan of the match. I thought it was boring. Worst match of the night. Like, hands down.
Why was it so boring, Neil? It was boring.
I am not.
I was like, we've seen this all before.
So I think we were all also. I think everyone was already ready to just get to the main event. I'm kind of tired of the Acclaimed. I think they're getting really like what I think I've mentioned it before. They're giving me the same feel as like the New Day. It's like it's the same gimmick is getting over and over and over again, and it's boring. And it's like, we get it. You rap 3 lines every time you come out, and I like the Acclaim, but I just think they're getting boring. And I'm not too I'm just not too intrigued by them. And then I also think that the House of Black is slightly overrated. I think they're slightly overrated, and I am a huge fan of Malachi Black. I think he could be great singles, but I just don't. I'm not too big on Brody King and Matthews. I don't think. I just think I think the whole match was just kind of boring. Like, I wasn't too high on it.
So this is what I thought was going to happen. This was the only way to me this would have worked. I thought. This is what I was thinking was happening. They're going to be wrestling, and either at the end after they won or in the match, Billy Gunn was going to swerve the Acclaimed. I still thought that was the way to go. That's the real reason I left you guys, because I don't want to be your daddy ass for you two young guys.
And it's like now they're the champions, so now like, obviously it's going to run for a while. Like I'm just the whole Trios Championship is hard because that's a lot of guys that have to be involved in a rivalry, like a 3-on-3. So, like, I don't know where they go from here. Do they wrestle the House of Black again? Do they give it to another trio? Like, I don't know. It's just
the only story they can do still. They have to do the story with Billy Gunn swerving the Acclaimed. I think they have to do it. Where does this go?
Yeah, I thought that's what it was going towards, and now he's back to daddy ass. So it's like.
I was that, and the other thing is, of the guys in House of Black, the one I think is the best wrestler is Buddy Matthews.
Yeah,
he's like buried in there.
I think they're both buried. I think him and Malachi are just buried there. They've been House of Black for how long? Like they've been together for so long. It's just boring. It's tiring at this point.
I
They're-
I was with you. It was the dud of the
I
evening.
did like the tribute to Bray Wyatt. I don't know if you noticed they had the lantern, so that was cool. I like that.
I thought it was really great, which we're going to get into Bray in very shortly, that they did that. I thought it was cool that they did acknowledge it. We're all one big wrestling family. It wasn't just he's at WWE. That was a really great touch. And to me, if they wouldn't have done that, they would have seemed out of step.
Yeah.
So thank God.
People are not
that, even though we had to watch Daddy Ass. It was really a troubling match to me. I just thought, what is the point of this?
Yeah, I was bored. I didn't really care for it, and now they're the champions, so it's whatever. But I was just too excited to get to the main event.
So we come to the main event. We've been waiting for this. It's MJF versus Adam Cole. First of all, I really felt MJF's entrance was ruined on like you're seeing the guy behind him pushing the chair.
So I thought
I was dying. I'm like, how can you not fix this?
You know what's funny? I think it like genuinely. I'm not saying we're like veteran watchers of wrestling, but not that many people probably noticed or cared. But when I saw that, I was like, this guy's head is in the back, and that's all I was staring at. That's all I was looking at.
Me too. I was like,
his head pushed.
I was so distracted. I was like, is the guy in the back going to be in the next shot pushing? He was pushing the thing.
But that's the thing. Like that's the something as simple as that, which some people probably don't care about, which most people probably don't care about, means like I notice it because it's like that one thing right there. I feel like separates WWE and AEW when it comes to production. Because if this was WWE, you don't see there would be a movement. There would be somebody like either under it or it's like a mechanical thing where it moves. Like you don't have guys pushing a thing, or what they could have done was have the girls push it. Like, you know what I mean? They would have something like that where it's like somebody in the act is pushing it so it looks normal, not a guy that's with a black security thing on pushing the thing with a headset. And then I don't know if you noticed he bumped into the ramp. Did you notice that he smoked
the whole thing? It was driving me crazy.
The two girls in front of the ramp got knocked over.
It was so bad. It was like we're supposed to be like, oh, here he comes. And all I'm seeing is it's laughable because you're seeing the guy push him out.
Yeah. Or have the thing behind MJF like blacked so you can't see the guy. You know what I mean?
And that was the other thing that kind of you have this at a Wembley Stadium. I just didn't also love the entrance. Like
it was plain. Yeah, it was. So I thought they were going to do this.
I thought like
type setup. Yeah,
it wasn't.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, I think they still lack the production. That's the only thing they lack is the production and the like. You can even tell it seems small, but we talk about the video packages from WWE and how good they are. The video packages from AEW, they look like they're made on iMovie. Like I'm not kidding. They're not good. They're not good.
Right. And I will say, though, as we talked about on Collision and stuff, they're doing more packages now.
Yeah.
So trying to use that to tell a story, which is not a bad thing.
Smart, yeah.
But they're not, I mean, the production value on WWE is just so massive in a way that any sport, and like any sports league,
yeah,
you could rival this with anything.
Yeah,
I mean, it's so big.
Yeah.
So that made it to me look puny. I'm in the main event, and here comes the champ, and he's being wheeled out by a guy in the back. Like that looks so. So that was weird. Then we get to the ring. Did you like Adam Cole's entrance?
He doesn't really have a crazy entrance, so it's like I like his song.
Yes, I do too. All right, so they come out. It's a big feel match.
Sorry, a random number is calling me. I'm trying to like decline.
Random number is calling. It's Adam Cole.
It's Tony Khan.
Tony Khan, like, hey.
All right. So now we start the match.
All right, we start the match, and it's clear they're really in MJF. Crowd is really behind MJF. then you think everything's going fine, and you know it's going to break down. And of course, there's the whole thing, they put on the same tank top, and everything's fine. And then MJF gouges him in the eyes, and that's the first moment that anything went south. And then Adam Cole went really kind of crap, like he was heelish on him. What did you think was going to happen at that point?
Like I said, I was already under the impression that I personally thought Cole was going to win. I didn't know if that meant they were going to turn on each other or not. I thought they were going to give the win to Cole. After they won the tag titles, that's how I felt even more, because I was like, all right, maybe they give it to Cole and then whatever, like, we'll figure it out. When they started teasing the whole, Cole, once Cole ripped the shirt off of MJF, I was like, all right, they're going to turn on each other. I was like, this is it. I was like, that's how it's going to go down. I was like, I'm forgetting everything I said. And then they had the rest of the match. And the one thing, before I talk about the match in general, I'm just going to talk about it in a whole. I don't know if you felt this way, felt this way also. The feeling, I'm not, and people are going to think I'm comparing it to WWE. I am, because that's the only thing I can compare it to. Because that's the only rival company that does something like this. And all AEW does is try to compete with WWE. So today was their WrestleMania, basically. The feeling that I had when not just because I was there, but when you got Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes standing across from each other, and it's so heated and rivalry, and it's like, I can't wait for you guys to fight each other. I thought it was a little weird that the main event of this huge thing was like a friendship celebration, and it was a lot of playing to the crowd. It didn't feel as hyped as I thought it would be. You know what I mean? It didn't feel like I can't wait to watch this match. It was more of I can't wait to see if they turn on each other or not. And I think that overshadowed the actual match inside the ring. Like, the crowd was so into MJF and the connections they had together. I don't think they really cared who won. Like, I you know what I mean? It didn't really matter. I think it mattered more of who's going to turn on each other and who's going to hit each other with the belt.
Well, I thought I thought we were all waiting to see who was going to turn.
Yeah. And I the fact that they did it,
and the way I'm a little annoyed, like part of me, like, let's just make a definitive turn. Like, why did this was the buildup to this.
Yeah.
And there's nothing worse at a PLE. There's nothing worse than you are let down by the buildup and there's no resolution or next.
Because my thing is that, obviously now this goes longer, but what other stage would have been bigger to have a turn than now? Now, when are you going to do? When is your next pay-per-view going to be good enough for a turn like that? You know what I mean? Like, you're going to do it on a regular day of Rampage, like of Dynamite. So it's like, I thought they lost their chance. Unless they're going to stay together, then if they stay together for another year, then it's different. But I don't think they can do that. So it's like, what are you going to do now? Where do you go from here? I'm intrigued to see where it goes, but I personally feel like
what did you think about all the little wrestling cliches that were put in there? We got the referee knocked down twice. We got the low blow. We got Roderick Strong coming out to the ring. And it was like, I did get that. And I thought that was interesting from the fact, like, Adam Cole's not going to be such a douche that he's going to go back to his friend Roderick Strong. But you didn't know for a moment. Like, that was the only, I guess, question in there. But they threw that in there, and that interference, and that interference.
And then they had MJF with the ring that he puts back in the
ring. Everybody's like, oh, I'm going to do this. So it was like so much teasing, and nobody did anything.
And then once I thought, okay, the match ended. They extended the match. I didn't like it.
Did you like that?
I thought it was, that's another cliche, the draw, and then they extended of the match. That's another one that they added.
Like, I'm going to take you 20 more minutes.
Yeah, it's like, whatever. I thought that was kind of corny, but it's okay. And then I personally, I can't believe this match, your biggest match of your company ended with a roll-up. That just didn't really sit well with me at all. Like, this is your champion, and you don't have him win like clean, not clean, but you don't have him win like definitively. It's like a
roll-up, a small little roll-up.
Yeah. Like, I didn't like it. And then I was like, all right, it's over. And then once they finally had the whole thing again, where he throws the title and MJF went crazy, I was like, all right, now it's going to happen. And then once I saw him taking too long, I was like, all right, now they're doing the same. It's the same thing they did the past 4 weeks on Dynamite and Collision. It's the same exact thing.
I thought Adam Cole was gonna like when they were like, is he gonna hit him with the belt? Instead of I thought he was gonna do it. That's what he should have done. He should have done it.
For a second, I thought he was gonna hit Roderick since he was standing in the apron for so long. I got to a point where I was like, all right, he's not hitting MJF. He's gonna go hit, throw it at him or hit him with it.
Or they're both gonna hit Roderick.
Yeah, but I didn't like how they didn't do anything. I thought the match was good and the crowd was into it. MJF got a celebration. It's cool. I love MJF and I think he deserves everything because he works hard and he's really in character and he's one of the few guys left that is like a genuine, like he loves pro wrestling. But I thought that it just kind of overshadowed his performance with the whole friendship thing, which I'm surprised he's like okay with. So I think they 100% they can't do this and see the way this went without MJF being face. He has to stay face. He's the biggest baby face in their company. It has to be Cole that turns. It has to be.
Has to be. And the thing is, they were really playing in the post media scrum when Adam came out about how he had the brain injury and that he wasn't going to come back. So it would have been an emotional moment if they would have had him be like not a jerk and like win after all he'd been through. That's why I bought into what you were saying. Maybe they'll give it to Adam Cole because of all he's gone through. And now like that would have been a nice, like, that's a story to talk about.
And Tony Khan was saying, he was talking about how, yeah, like you said, they didn't know he was going to wrestle again. He's the hottest he's ever been. MJF obviously is going to be hot no matter what because it's MJF. Cole does have these points where he dies out and comes back, dies out, comes back. That's going to be a perfect time for him to win it. And then you could lose it. But I don't know. I thought the match was fine. The ending was a little weird. I don't mind MJF retaining because he's the guy, but I just don't know where you go with. I don't know where the end
what's the end game? And was the point of all this to do you think they tripped upon MJF being the face? Or they set this up for MJF to be the face. I wonder if they didn't know. And he went.
I don't know. I don't know if they knew. I don't know if they knew. I genuinely don't. I don't think that they, because now I don't even know if you know. Like I don't know if you realize they even have like they're doing like so much promotional stuff. Like they were on MJF and Adam Cole were on like a YouTube the Hot Ones thing together. Like they're doing a lot of promotional stuff together. So they're obviously making a lot of money with these T-shirts and. You know,
right? They put them on and they said it's a number one. So they intentionally
right away. Hey, by the way, you can buy this.
And by the way, you can buy it right now.
Yeah. So
I thought the match, if you take the match part where they did stuff, was great. Like they were really good in the ring. I thought the interference got corny. It was all corny.
I don't think Roderick is like a big enough star to be involved in this storyline. You know what I mean? It just doesn't seem right. It's like why is he there? For a second,
I would have put Brett in
for a second, when I really thought they were gonna turn, and I saw Roderick in the ring and Adam Cole, like my fantasy booking was like, "Yo, Punk is gonna come out and help MJF." I was like, that's what's gonna happen. I was like, they need to do something. They need to do some big swerve, and they didn't. And I was gonna say this and bring it up. I was really surprised they went the biggest event in history, in AEW history specifically, and there was no like debut or return or of anybody outside the company. Like, and I was genuinely surprised. I really was. No Goldberg. We thought Goldberg was gonna be there.
No Edge.
I thought RVD was. I thought they brought him back.
RVD and Perry.
But I'm saying I thought they brought him back to have him on the show, and then they didn't. No, obviously no Edge because he's still on contract. But it was. I was surprised that they didn't have, and it didn't end with anything big. It just ended with the hug, and that was it.
I thought the same thing. I thought, okay, if they're gonna stay together, someone's coming out at the end.
Yeah,
but nobody came out at the end.
I was surprised. I really was.
I
give them props because they like to do a lot of stuff that ends like crazy, but I guess they wanted to stay with their hometown guys.
So when you look at the totality of this, what would you rate it?
I thought match-wise, the only match I didn't like was the trios match and the Punk match. I just didn't like those two. Everything else I thought was great. I mean, It was definitely. I thought they did. But I personally wasn't expecting it to be as well run when it came to timing. I thought it was going to go even longer than that.
No, it felt,
Um,
by the way, I want to say that
yeah,
to your point, it was moving to me. Like all of a
yeah,
sudden the
yeah.
next, it wasn't like, you know how there were all these they kept it moving, which was good. Like it didn't
It
drag.
went 3 hours and 45 minutes total. That's how much it was, which is usually what a Mania is. So it's like I thought they did well with that. I enjoyed it. I really did. I enjoyed it. I thought it was easy to watch. Like I said, I enjoy watching these AEW pay-per-views. It's when it's like the weekly shows, it feels like I'm watching the same thing every single week. But the matches itself are great in-ring matches. They really are. They're people, these guys are awesome.
Amazing. So you're not going
Like
to take it to a grade.
8.5, 8.5 out of 10.
Wait, no, what about an A, B, C? What would you give it?
I'll give it a A minus.
Okay, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I agree. I think it's an
Or
A,
an A.
huh?
What's less, A minus or A?
A minus is less than an A.
A minus.
So it's A plus, A minus.
Yeah, right above a B plus. That's how I'm getting it to.
Yeah, I give it an A minus too. I think it's because I'm disappointed. I would give it an A, but I didn't. I think there should have been some. I don't know if I love the ending that they hugged it out and we're going off the air.
I didn't like that, and I didn't like the two matches that they had. But then, other than that, I thought it was great.
Do you think they made a deal with Punk and said, "Listen, we're bringing you back, but you're not going to be the star of these"? Like, how is he okay with being? Like, he doesn't really have anything to do.
No, yeah, that's that Joe, like that Joe feud. We knew that was a feud since before he came back. They were like, yeah, he's only coming back if he could feud with Joe, and that's exactly what they did.
Okay, so who's MJF going to wrestle it all out?
If he even does.
I thought it'd be Punk.
I don't know what he's gonna do. I guess we'll see.
Like they only have 5 days to sell the pay-per-view. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, they only have 5 days to create like 5 more matches. They only have like 2 matches confirmed.
Well, they've done that before. You know,
yeah.
Together.
I don't know why I just don't know how they went about like doing it. Like who planned this out? Where it was like, yeah, a week later.
Who planned this? All right. So I want to talk about this really sad week in pro wrestling. It was really shocking that Terry Funk Jr. passed away on Wednesday. And then and he was 79. And then we got the devastating news about Bray Wyatt passing away at 36 on Thursday. I've had so many people come up to me from different walks of life who know, that we have the show or, my love or work in wrestling. And they're like, oh my God, that guy that died. Like so many people know about it.
Yeah.
Such an impact of Bray's passing because it was so shocking and because he was so young. Can you talk to me about you didn't believe me when I told you?
No, not even a second.
So what happened is I was working and I saw Triple H's tweet on X, and it just hit his account. It was like 30 seconds after I was like, this can't be.
What was your reaction when you read it? Like, did you even like did you have to reread it like 5 times to see what you were reading?
Yeah, because I wanted to make sure it wasn't like a hack Triple H account or something.
Yeah.
And I was really, and then I was seeing it, and then I sent it to you, and then I saw some things trickling out, and then I saw like TMZ confirm it and all that. But I believed it once I figured out it was Triple H's account.
Yeah,
and that's when I sent it to you. I was shocked. What do you think he meant to the WWE in terms of like what he'll be most remembered for? Just his creativity and
I definitely think, and like I said, the reason it felt so weird, and it was honestly like crazy to talk about, to see, because listen, there's a celebrity, celebrities pass away all the time, whatever, and it's honestly, and even though it's I think it's probably the worst death when it comes to like how young he was in wrestling history, and like they said that somebody on Twitter said that he is the first active member of the roster to pass away since Eddie Guerrero, because every other person that's passed away early was already gone, because no one's passed away at that age before. So he's the first one since Eddie Guerrero. So I can only imagine that's what people felt like when Eddie Guerrero just passed away as the champion out of nowhere, because I wasn't alive yet. So
yeah.
So the reason I feel like it hit so different, and like even though it was so sad, it was honestly because I watched a lot of these guys on YouTube, and it's like it felt so weird. Like when I saw it, it felt so weird that I was like, why do I feel sad? I was like, why do I feel upset? I have no idea. Like this guy has no idea who I am. It's like some people wouldn't understand. And then I watched, I was watching SmackDown because SmackDown was a must watch, and I'm watching like the guy I follow, like he does like live streams, and he starts crying, and it's like, wow, like that's just how people feel. Like it's like it's crazy that you can cry for somebody that you have no idea who they are.
But that's how they affected you. You know what I'm saying?
And that's why it's like crazy, because it's like honestly, like the only way to think about it in a positive way is like these guys did exactly what they wanted to do, was impact everybody's life to the point where they're upset that something happened to him. Because the only other thing I compare it to is like when Kobe Bryant died. I didn't know who Kobe Bryant was. Like he didn't know who I was, but I was genuinely upset that he passed away. He was 45 years old or whatever he was. He just played basketball all that time. It was like, this doesn't make any sense. So when he passed away, it was like the main thing that was crazy was that we were just talking about him feuding with Cody like next week, because he was supposed to come back. Like supposedly I was reading online that's what they were setting up, was Cody and Bray for the next pay-per-view, because that's the big one that Cody really wanted to do. And then it goes from that to him just not being alive, which was just insane to me. So that's why it was so hard to like even believe that that's what happened. But like, I feel like when it comes to Bray, and the reason everyone loves him so much is because he genuinely cared about what he was doing. And not that WWE has to feel that way, but I feel like there is some sense of regret, and like, damn, we fired this guy when he was at the lowest point of his life after Luke Harper died. And he had a lot of title runs, but he never had that legit run that he really deserved. Because I think when he's not here, and it's like, wow, like he really deserved better than he got. And he made every single character he had work no matter what. Like he took everything he did and did it 100%. And that's why I think I loved him. He was like my favorite. He was honestly like my favorite guy. So that's why it was hard. It was so crazy.
So there was another wrestling fan that I know that I see, and he said the exact same thing to me. I don't know why this death has hit me so hard. The only one I can compare it to is Kobe Bryant. Said the same thing as you did. And the same thing I can say too. I remember when Kobe died, I was actually in a meeting with a production company, and we were at like a brunch, and it was like a weekend. I think it was a Sunday or Saturday he died. And everyone in the restaurant, I looked down on my phone, I went, oh my God, Kobe Bryant died. And they're like, what? No, they can't be. And I'm like, no, Kobe Bryant died. And then everybody in the place, like all the different tables in this place were just gut wrench.
Yeah.
Like every table. And it was just, it's too hard to believe he would die at such a young age. And with Bray, what's sad about this to me is he was off television. We were hoping he was going to have a comeback. He was ill. They weren't disclosing what was wrong with him. And what was upsetting me at the time was like, okay, is this a suicide? I was worried about that.
Yeah.
Because they were saying there were mental issues.
And then his first promo that he came back with was very heart-wrenching. So it was like, you rewatch it now, it's like, that's like, it was crazy that's what he was talking about. I mean, right. Obviously, yeah.
Yeah, we don't have the autopsy report yet. So I think there's, we don't know what's going to come out, but obviously we're going with it was a heart attack at this moment. But, I've never seen a pro wrestler with that kind of creativity that created everything he did. Now, some of it didn't work to the amount, and I don't think that's necessarily the fault of his. I think sometimes the show didn't know how to, like this last thing he was doing with Howdy Doody, Uncle Howdy, and all that. it just didn't move fast. It just kept going and going.
Yeah.
But that wasn't him. The Firefly Funhouse was a brilliant idea.
Yeah, I loved it.
Firefly Funhouse, and then he come out as the Fiend, as the
I
ultimate.
loved, and see, that's the thing, that's like, I loved the Fiend. I loved the character. That entrance was like my favorite entrance. And that's why it's, like I said, it's so weird to explain, because it's like people pass away and people have passed away tragically, but I've never watched somebody my whole life pass away. Like that's how I'm gonna feel when like some other people that I can name pass away that I don't even want to talk about. Like whenever in the world, like for example, like for me, like I am one of the biggest like LeBron James fans. Like that's like my idol. So like even when we're older, if it's like when I'm 7 years old and he passes away, that's how I'm gonna feel. But I didn't expect to feel that way about Bray Wyatt, because it was never a thought in my head like, all right, he's gonna die at 35 or 36 years old. So when I saw that message, it was crazy, because I was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I was like, he's literally getting creative plans for next week. Like he's going to be back. That's why it was crazy. That's why it doesn't make any sense to me. And then when I watched SmackDown, I watched it and I thought it was like very emotional and stuff, but I wasn't crying or anything. But then once they showed the whole package of his family, that's when it got bad. That's when I was like, all right, now this sucks. Like now I'm going to start crying, because that's always the part that's the hardest part, is the family part, because then you leave back the young kids who don't have a dad anymore. You know what I mean? That's always the hardest part.
It's terrible.
So,
yeah. And I wanted to say so you and I had talked, and I was like, how are they going to do this on SmackDown with a day?
Yeah.
And I didn't know whether the right move was to have matches that night, but you already had a crowd there.
Yeah.
And
I think they did a great job.
I thought it was so great. And I thought that they came out right at the beginning and did that. And Michael Cole made the announcement, and then everybody was there. I do think they should have had everybody there. Like, I think it would have been nice to have like Roman and Seth and people that weren't booked for that night. I feel it would have been
like being able to see, like, I don't know if you saw Seth's video of him saying why he didn't go. Because he said that one of his last conversations he had with Bray, he says that he always remembers his last conversation he had with Bray was when Luke Harper died, and Bray told him before he hung up the phone, he said just hold on to your baby girl. So he says that he's like talking about his daughter. So he's like, I feel like if I were to leave, I would be leaving my family one day early, and I think that Bray would want me to be with my family, because you never know when the last time you're going to be with them is. So he's like, but I think that, like you said with Roman, I think it would have been cool to have someone that's like technically like in this huge storyline kind of break character for that one moment, to just be standing in front. All he had to do standing, you know what I mean? Like something like that. There was no heels or things.
Right. I just felt like, I get that they weren't booked for that show. But I know how the booking works, like getting airline flights with them, and like this was a horrific thing.
Yeah.
And I just felt the bigger solidarity would be get everybody back, get your main stars back, and solidarity together. And Seth and all of them. Like a lot of them weren't there. That's what I think. Great.
I love, and that's another thing. I love that. I read the story online. Cody was like literally across the country, and he was like, "I'm going to be there no matter what." And like that's just the type of. I feel like that's just the type of guy he is, and that's why. Not that that's the reason, but that's why I feel like they're so high on him, is because the stuff like that, like he probably didn't even think about it. He was like, "Yeah, I'm going to be there," and he was right next to Triple H. And I love that they had.
And let's remember, Cody's on Raw, everybody. So he's not on SmackDown.
Yeah, and I love that they had Rowan there Rowan and Strowman right next to Triple H was awesome. Like they're not the two biggest guys. Rowan just wrestled in AEW like a year ago, whatever. And they had him front and center, which I thought was great.
The one that got me up really in tears was Braun, watching him.
Yeah, Braun was upset.
Upset. So
upset. And he flew in. He's still recovering from a neck injury, and he flew in that day. So it really.
I'm just saying to you, if he can do that, where's everybody else?
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah, where were they? And I do wonder how the backstage feels about that. Like, I wonder if some of them are mad or upset about it.
Well, yeah. Like.
And like it's cool and not cool. It's crazy. It's nice to see and sad to see that like when they're doing the salute and they come back and they're showing the crowd, like you got guys like Styles who don't really show emotion. He's crying. You know, these
Styles
people
was obviously
Styles
very,
probably never had like how much conversations did Styles really have with this guy? And he, you know, he never had a match with him. I know he did a couple times, and
you don't know. Maybe they were,
yeah,
you know, they've had those, maybe you don't know. But you know, I just felt that everyone should have been there that could be there.
yeah,
And the package was done, the video package to
it was
be
awesome.
if somebody is who produces video like I do this kind of work, to have them turn it around that fast and be that good was so
Yeah, it was great.
effective. It was so beautifully well done. And then of course coming out of it and everybody saying he's got the whole world in his hands,
Yeah, that was good.
just gut wrenching. Like that really that was sad. And then they went to the chair. They really did a really beautiful job for him. And I just wanted everyone,
someone because somebody like had to think of all that stuff, and it was whoever did was awesome at it. Because like that, I think they couldn't have been a better tribute. And I did see that. I like the way it ended with the whole. I thought that LA Knight and Balor main eventing made so much sense because think about it, it makes no at the same time it makes no sense because there's no type of storyline there, but it was basically just one big tribute to Bray Wyatt because that was his first match back and then first feud as the Fiend. So I thought that was great. It was great. Like
and LA Knight said some great thing. LA Knight was great.
LA Knight, he did a great job at keeping his feud going and having a tribute to Bray Wyatt in character at the same time. He really did a great job. And then the thing with the lantern at the end, that was so sad at the end. So that like it really does.
That was at the end of the night.
The night. Yeah.
And I was gonna say, remember how we hated the LA Knight Wyatt match because it was that stupid, it was the lit up neon thing.
Yeah.
But now looking back, you're like, oh,
that was his only match back, which is crazy. They had one match and that was it. And then the last time we saw him, they beat up Hit Row and he was supposed to fight Bobby at WrestleMania, and then they just that whole illness happened and all that stuff. So it's like it really was crazy because he was supposed to come back like next week and that happened. So I guess you don't know what really was going on. And then, you know, I am waiting because I know eventually the family will probably put out the family hasn't put out a statement yet, which is what we're waiting for. It's just like
I think there's more to come about what happened that day.
Like there has to be a more detailed explanation of what happened. So it's like did they know and they didn't say anything? Did they have a feeling something was going to happen, or was it really he was going to come back and then he had a heart attack and died?
Or like, something else happened and we don't know. Yeah. Like I don't know. Yeah. I was shocked. I mean, I knew he had 4 kids, but there were 2 with Samantha, his first wife, and 2 with JoJo.
Yeah.
So that's 4 little kids.
They're all like within like 10 years, like 10 years old.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. But I kudos to them. Then the Terry Funk thing, I actually thought was good too, by having Cody come out. You know,
that was fun.
It was how do we connect this? Yeah. And by having him come out and connect it to Dusty and Terry. Yeah. Now, I used to watch Terry Funk as a kid. Like I saw Terry Funk.
Yeah.
How old am I? But I saw Terry Funk. Like I remember him. He was great. Yeah. He was a great worker in the ring. He was amazing.
And I was not scared, but I was like, damn, like I was like, even though it kind of did, I was like, they're gonna do more for Bray than they did for Funk because of the fact that Funk was older and it wasn't really a shock and all that stuff. But I still think they did a great job with Cody being there, and I
think they did a good job with it. And obviously,
Bray was going to be the one that was more noticeable.
Well, it's more shocking and terrible to have a 36-year-old die than a 79-year-old.
Yeah,
I mean that's basically it.
Who had another 15 years in WWE when you think about it, like minimum, like he was going to be there for so long. That's why it just sucks, and that's the thing that hurts me more is because selfishly, you think about it from a fan perspective, it's like we missed out on so much because you fired him, and then he's finally back, and we got one match out of it. It's it's so sad.
Storyline is because they dragged this again. They dragged that story. It wasn't going anywhere. I figured they took him. I thought they took him off to retool it.
Yeah.
And and then there was this health issue. But I understand he had COVID, right? He got sick from COVID, and then it
So
complicated.
he had COVID, got past it, but then the COVID enhanced a heart issue that he didn't know he had, and then he had a heart attack. That's what I read from Sean Ross. So
I know Sean Ross gave the thing, and that's what we're going.
yeah, so I guess
now.
we'll see. But yeah, I did read that, because I was transitioning into the upcoming stuff. John Cena is gonna be on SmackDown on Friday, and they said
Your guy
that
is gonna be on SmackDown,
and I'm excited. And they said that he's gonna do a really touching tribute on Friday, as well as what he was gonna do there already, because supposedly he's setting something up. So I know that him and Bray had a lot of matches together and have a WrestleMania match, so it's gonna be a big deal. So they said he's gonna do really, and you know how good he is on the mic, so it should be really
amazing.
good.
I mean, he's amazing. I mean, I just wish. My sadness is that he was such an original, Bray, and all the hard work he put into it. He really, if you read everything, he had ideas and was creative. And a lot of times these guys have ideas that just they're not willing to do or go with.
Yeah.
But he really was so original. That's what's so sad. Like,
Yeah,
it's so original. And I know Alexa Bliss was very sad, obviously.
Yeah, because she had a long thing with him too, which they were even doing not too long ago. That was what they were setting up, and then it ended, and then they didn't go along with it, and then this happened. So that's why it's like she must feel, she must feel worse than other people do. So, but yeah, it's crazy. But WWE,
and backstage at like WWE is very it's an interesting thing, that you fight with people and you have that, but you really see they're all kind of in it together, right?
Yeah.
You're all kind of in this weird, circus
you're family.
thing.
Yeah.
You're all family. So
You see them more than you do your family. So it's
because really you're on the road, you have to realize you're on the road. Like, you fly from place to place, or you're driving a car. So
yeah,
you're gone all week.
Yeah.
You might get the weekends to go home.
And then you're back on the road.
And you're back on the road. Because you're
Yeah.
either doing a house event or the TV shows or the PLE. Like, you're just on the road.
Yeah.
So what do you think is going to happen? So Monday Night Raw is coming up.
So transitioning into
what's your predictions now that we're leaving?
I don't know if you saw. So they're doing this huge India event that's not televised at all. It's a house show, but it's just a big deal because they're going to India. John Cena's fighting with Seth Rollins against Gunther and which one is it? Which one is it?
You mean from Imperium?
It's from Imperium. I don't remember which one it is, but
Kaiser.
It's the bald one. Not Kaiser. What's the other one's name?
Oh,
Vinci, something Vinci.
Right.
So they're doing a tag match, Cena and Rollins. I think is pretty cool.
In
India on Saturday. I mean, not Saturday, Friday, Sunday. I don't know what day it is, but because Payback is on Saturday. So
next Saturday?
Payback's this Saturday coming up.
Oh, well, what are the matches? I don't even know.
We have Payback this Saturday and then All Out the next day.
I know it's a big weekend. We've got a lot to talk about.
And then Cena on Friday.
Cena on Friday. We got like next week's loaded. But my question is, I thought Payback wasn't set up. Like, what is the main event?
So Cody doesn't have a match. He's doing Grayson Waller's show on the
Oh yeah, right.
So that's one thing. Raquel Rodriguez is going into Rhea Ripley. That's confirmed, which I don't care about. Which I'm sorry, I don't care about it. We have Rollins against Shinsuke. We have Trish against Becky Lynch in a steel cage match. Yay! We have The Miz against LA Knight.
Well, that'll be entertaining.
And that's it. That's all there is.
So that seems not like there's something missing there.
I mean, yeah, I don't. It's definitely not a card that you're.
Wait. I remember this because this all happened. Didn't we get a phone call that we think's from Rikishi to Paul Heyman? Where's that?
So that was scratched from SmackDown. That was supposed to be for Friday, and they scratched all their plans and then did the tribute. So supposedly that got pushed to this Friday with the John Cena thing. But supposedly I was gonna ask. Payback's the next day. I'm telling you, they're not setting anything up for the Usos until Mania. They're pushing it, but
they don't have the problem is they don't have enough. They don't have a beast story. Go ahead.
What do you think Cena's coming back for on Friday?
The Make-A-Wish Foundation.
What do you think he's setting up? Like, do you think he's setting anything up? Because they added one thing I saw, because they said they haven't done it in years. They gave him a new render on WWE.com, and I read today that he's actually has a free schedule for like 2 to 3 months. That he's not filming anything.
Why is he still wrestling? Is my question.
My thing is that, as much as I love him, is him going with Rollins against Gunther and the other guy setting up him against Gunther because that's the only title he hasn't won. Because his only title he's never won is the IC Championship. So maybe they're setting that up, and he'll hold it. He'll beat him and hold it for a couple months.
Do like a 2-month reign, and then
if you're gonna have anyone beat Gunther at this crazy reign, it could be John Cena. Like that's an understandable loss. You know what I mean?
But I feel like John Cena now is doing what he did like with Austin Theory, like setting up the young guys.
That's why, like, who else? That's what I'm saying. Who's he coming back to fight?
I don't know. It feels like out of left field.
And his first match back is with Seth Rollins in a tag match in India that we're not going to be able to see.
This feels weird.
Yeah.
And why?
What I did see on Friday, because someone said it would be awesome to go along with the feud, because you know how Cena feuded, well, not feuded, but did the thing with Grayson Waller at Money in the Bank. They said that on SmackDown, they should do a segment in the beginning where it's like him and LA.
Yeah.
They should do him and LA Knight against Grayson Waller and The Miz, because it's them two. That would be awesome, because him and LA Knight together would be pretty cool.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Didn't we think Cody and Seth were going to be the next feud, though?
I guess they're going with the Shinsuke, but Shinsuke's not going to win, so it doesn't matter.
Well, after that's over, we still have a year to kill before Cody goes back to WrestleMania. We're only in September.
We have 7 months, 8 months.
7 months of what? Are we getting back to Cody, and aren't we going back to Cody and Roman?
We're just in inning number 2.
Well,
we're only in the second inning.
There's much more to. What does he always say? There's more.
He said we're only 2 chapters in.
2 chapters in. I'm like, well, when does the book end?
How long is this book?
How long is this book?
Is it a 3-chapter book?
With the Bloodline, it's getting boring right now. They need to do something.
Yeah, they gotta have something.
And is Seth going to keep the title?
Yeah, Seth will win.
Shitskate.
So, I think the person that's going to take it from Seth, I think there's a good chance maybe Damian catches
Damian has got to do something.
Also, I don't know if you've noticed on Raw, I cannot watch another Judgment Day tag team match main event. It's every month, every single week. It's Judgment Day against Sammy and KO, and then an extra person. It's always that every week.
It's like, so bad. Like we have TV time, but we can't move the story anywhere. So we're gonna do this. It just what is the point?
And who's Sammy and KO? Who are they fighting?
What happened to them? Like they need to freshen this up.
Yeah. So, but it seems like we have a lot. Seems like we have a lot coming up.
A lot coming up. All right. Any last words before we hang it up for this evening? It just shows you, though, that wrestling is super hot right now. Like, even Tony Khan was saying that Rampage was up 98% in viewership. You know why? Because he put some, like, legit stars on it, for one. Yeah. It wasn't like Joe Blow from, the squash match from Missouri.
There's a good chance that I am going to be attending Payback, by the way. just as a fan though. Like there's no like event going on. I live like 2 hours from there, so I was like, I might as well. That's drivable, so I was like, maybe I'll just go. It's not confirmed. I don't know yet. The tickets are really cheap. Obviously, look at the card.
So you would go as a fan, not as press, and you would go. You get a ticket and
yeah,
go.
because there's no press event anyway, so they're just doing because they only do it for like the big events. So might just go watch.
So you go.
It's like $30, so it's like I might as well just.
Hey, that's a great price. I would go and get all.
Yeah, it's not
bring
bad,
it back to our. So what? So where is that being held?
Pittsburgh,
Right,
Pennsylvania,
and you're going to be
Jersey.
in Jersey.
So it's like not even 2 hours.
Oh, I would go take uncle and go. Would spend $30 a ticket. That way you don't have the whole pressure. Because I know, like, I would love to just go to things now and just enjoy it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work that way. It's like there's a press event and you got to do this, and I got to go right up. Like, what happened to the days where you could just go and be like, I'm just going to sit here and like enjoy this. So you should do that.
we were like the few people in the group that wanted to just watch Mania, and they have these guys typing on the computer, like not watching the matches.
I was like, are you not watching this? And they're like, what just happened? What just happened? And I'm like, telling the guy, well, our friend next to me. I was like, yeah, she just hit. He's not even watching. He's like,
I've seen at every event.
Isn't his name Ed? What was his name?
So
he's like everywhere. So, but it's like, could you tell me what just happened? Because they're not watching it.
This would be. I've been to. If I go to Payback, it would be Payback. I was at SummerSlam, Backlash.
You're making the circuit. You're making the circuit.
2 nights of Mania.
You're making the circuit. But which was the best? Backlash, right?
100%.
Like you were. I mean, I wish I would have been at Backlash. Like even if I look back at our shows and I watch what you had to say, hands
I was so excited.
We're so excited about Backlash, and everything was like, yeah, it was okay. Backlash sounded amazing though, just being in the crowd.
Yeah, it was good. They didn't like your girl Bianca though.
And my girl Bianca's coming back as a heel now. I'm telling you. I was talking to these other guys, and they were like, who doesn't want to see a badass Bianca? Because the problem with her is she's so athletic. She could beat down anybody. Have her be a badass and beat people down.
Yeah. That's exactly what it's gonna be. So we'll see.
We'll see. All right. I will talk with you. So we have to plan next weekend.
So I think the best day would have to just be Sunday, because that's
after all
3 days. All 3 days, yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be SmackDown.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Saturday, you're gonna be at Payback.
Payback, yeah.
And Sunday is all out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, so we'll talk Sunday night. We'll figure it out. We'll let everybody know when the show is. Thanks for watching, and have a good week. And I'll talk to you next weekend.